Okay. Hello, my name is Amber Tubby, and this is what we need to know before going to St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. The first thing I want to talk about is the dress code. I know that since we're traveling to Italy during the summer, we all have some really nice outfits in mind. Well, when we visit St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, make sure to pack pants and a nice shirt and shoes. St. Peter's Basilica is the largest church ever built, and they do not allow flip-flops, shorts, or short skirts. The dress code is strictly enforced. Men must wear long pants and cover their shoulders, and women must not have either bare shoulders or skirts shorter than knee length. So when we visit Rome, make sure to pack pants or a long dress and closed-toed shoes. And if you are wearing a tank top, just make sure to pack like a cardigan or some kind of cover-up so that when you go inside you can just easily put it on and don't have to worry about the dress code. This is just some of the history. The story of St. Peter's Basilica begins with the crucifixion of Peter, one of the apostles of Jesus, in 64 AD. He was crucified upside down on a cross in Circus of Nero and buried nearby on what is now the Vatican Hill. Emperor Constantine the Great built the old basilica between 319 AD and 333 AD on the grounds of the burial spot of St. Peter. Later on, in the 16th century, at the behest of Pope Julius II, the current St. Peter's Basilica was built. St. Peter's Basilica is currently a papal basilica and is famous for being the site of St. Peter's tomb and the chair of St. Peter, which confers a spiritual authority to the Pope. However, it is not the official basilica of the Pope, but all the major papal functions and events are conducted here due to its sheer size and importance. St. Peter's Basilica holds a lot of records, including the largest church building in the world, second tallest building in Rome, and the tallest dome in the world. Apart from that, it is also conferred as a UNESCO World Heritage Site for the wealth of art and culture it embodies and preserves. This is just some of the famous artwork inside. The first one is the Pieta. The Pieta is a work of Renaissance sculpted by Michelangelo, which is that first picture that I have. St. Peter's Baldicon. St. Peter's Baldicon is a ciborium placed in the heart of the basilica, dedicated to the Saint Father of the Church. Bernini designed and built St. Peter's Baldicon between July 1624 and 1633, and the Baldicon is the second picture that I have here. The Transfiguration. The Transfiguration is the last painting by the Italian High Renaissance master Raphael, commissioned by Cardinal Giulio de' Medici. The later Pope Clement VII conceived it as an altarpiece for the Narbonne Cathedral in France. Raphael worked on it until his death of 1520. The next one is the Laquan and his sons. The statue of Laquan and his sons, also called the Laquan group, has been one of the most famous ancient sculptures ever since it was excavated in Rome in 1506 and placed on public display in the Vatican, where it remains. So here are just a couple of those pictures. Like the first one that I have in the upper left-hand corner is the Transfiguration, and below that is the Laquan and his sons, and on the right is the chair of St. Peter. And something kind of interesting to keep in mind is that the paintings in St. Peter's are actually mosaic, meaning that they are in glass or a ceramic mosaic, so you can take pictures of them and you can have your flash on and it won't actually damage the painting. St. Peter's Square. St. Peter's Square is a large plaza located directly in front of St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican City. In 1656, Pope Alexander VII commissioned sculptor and architect Bernini to create a square worthy of the majesty of St. Peter's Basilica. Bernini designed an elliptical plaza that is embraced on two sides by 4 rows of imposing Doric columns arranged in a stunning colonnade. The double colonnades are meant to symbolize the embracing arms of St. Peter's Basilica, Christianity's mother church. Topping the colonnades are 140 statues depicting saints, martyrs, popes, and founders of religious orders within the Catholic Church. St. Peter's tomb. Buried under St. Peter's Basilica is the treasure tomb of St. Peter, an important historical and religious burial site since the 1st century. Built in honor of St. Peter, one of the 12 apostles of Jesus Christ, the tomb has several structures that together make up a grand tomb. Additionally, 91 popes are buried in St. Peter's Basilica, including John Paul II, who was buried here in 2005. The mix of popes buried here is quite eclectic. For example, you can see St. Gregory I and the powerful Pope Alexander VII, and if you go underground, you will find Boniface VIII, who is notoriously corrupt. Why is it a basilica? In the Roman Catholic and Greek Orthodox churches, a canonical title of honor given to church buildings that are distinguished either by their antiquity or by their role as international centers of worship because of their association with a major saint. And this kind of goes back to St. Peter's tomb. Their association with a major saint physically, meaning like his bones are there and the church was built, above his burial site, above his actual physical body. Some of the famous architects that helped build St. Peter's, which was built in the 4th century by Roman Empire Constantine the Great. Construction of the present basilica began on the 18th of April of 1506 and was completed on the 18th of November of 1626. Armani was the original architect of the structure in 1505, but was replaced by Raphael in 1515. In 1520, Raphael died only 5 years on the job. Both architects, Armani and Raphael, were going for a Pantheon-inspired dome and wanted to go big. Michelangelo was appointed by Pope Paul III in 1545 to finish overseeing the design and construction. Michelangelo is highly regarded as the basilica's principal designer, who was coerced into the job. Michelangelo's designs paid reverence to the original aspects of Armani's designs. Michelangelo definitely gets credit for the dome. The facade of the building was designed and constructed by Carlo and Stefano Mandario, father and son, and Bernini was the principal architect of the basilica's most defining features, which is the St. Peter's Square, which is located directly out front. How long did it take to be built? It took 120 years to be built. The original basilica Constantine built lasted from the mid-14th century AD until 1506. The current basilica was built under Constantine, and although it does not exist in full form, the current basilica still utilizes foundational elements from the original structure. That means the foundation is nearly 1,700 years old. And as my last point on my presentation, St. Peter's Basilica is the largest church on earth. One of the first things we'll notice while visiting St. Peter's Basilica is the size. As we walk in, the gold-covered ceilings in front of you are 150 feet high. The statues on both sides of you increase in size as the higher up on the wall. But since the design of the church is very proportional, you won't really notice a change, but the statues on the ground are 6 feet high, while up top they are 24 feet high. It is also the tallest dome on earth. St. Peter's Basilica's dome was inspired by the Pantheon. Also, it was inspired by Brunelleschi's Dome de Fernandez. The dome is so tall that you could fit the Statue of Liberty inside. The dimensions of the dome are 448.1 feet tall. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation. This is definitely one of the most exciting things I'm excited to see on our trip. So thank you.